Welcome back to the Making the Madness YouTube channel to break down the news as Ben Vander Plas has decided to join the Virginia Cavaliers. This is, the second instance of the Mackay Mason effect, as I would call it. Vander Plas infamously, had a big game, helped lead Ohio past Virginia, and has decided, what, I beat this team, I'm going to go join this team that I beat. You could call it you beat them, you join them, or you can beat them, you can join them, whatever you want to call it. Ben Vander Plas is now deciding to do that. He is taking his talents to Virginia to play under Tony Bennett and to what should be a pretty dramatic role for this Virginia team. You look at Vander Plas, he is a really terrific overall player. He's kind of a 6'8" forward. He can score inside the paint pretty well. Is good at getting his own shot. A decent enough 3-point shooter. He's going to create space. He's going to be able to knock down shots. He's not an elite 3-point shooter. He's not an elite free throw shooter, but he's a good enough free throw shooter. And you add that to the skills he has just as a whole. He's a good passer. He's a good rebounder. He's a good defender. You add all that, and you have a really effective, efficient player that is going to, I think, be a really good player for this Virginia team. And this is a Virginia team that the past couple seasons has kind of been a struggle. They in 2020 didn't get an NCAA tournament, but they were probably at best going to make the second round. It was not a team that really had deep aspirations. In 2021, they infamously get upset to Ben Vander Plas and Ohio. And then last season, they missed the NCAA tournament as a whole, weren't really even in contention. Did beat Duke on the road, but outside of that, just too many not great losses. So Virginia ends up missing the NCAA tournament. Well, now this season, you look forward and you say, okay, this is one of these seasons where I think Virginia is going to be kind of underrated and kind of a team I think not a lot of people are going to talk about, and also a team that is probably going to be top 15 level good. I think it's going to be one of these years where Virginia will rebound, where Virginia will have a good season, where they will be talked about in the NCAA tournament as a deep second weekend Final Four level team. And they just have a really good team overall now with the addition of Ben Vander Plas kind of being the capper to that. You return Kihei Clark in the offseason. As mentioned, he's kind of limited in what he can do. But what he can do, he's a good assist player. He's good at finding open teammates. He's good at creating kind of space for opponents, defensively. Offensively, he's really good. So he's a solid piece. You have Reese Beekman coming back for another season. He's a kind of good shooter. Can also run at some point. Can also play pretty good defense. So that's a good guard duo. You have Jane Gardner, who will probably start at the 4. He's he was their leading scorer season ago. He's a good rebounder. He's a good scorer. Not an elite 3-point shooter, but he can knock down shots from the perimeter. Then you have Armand Franklin, who's probably the best shooter of the bunch. He's a 6'4" guard, kind of had a struggling season, but he's a more efficient shooter than what he showed last season, and he could be in for a big bounce back season. He's a good overall player, and will help create space. Then you have Ben Vander Plas, who I think could play some 5, could start at the 5, could also be a 6-man, could also play that at the 4 and have one of Beekman or Franklin move to 6-man. Not sure exactly how this starting 5 will exactly work for Virginia. I think they've got 6 starters essentially, but Ben Vander Plas, if you want to put him in the starting 5 spot, he's certainly a good enough rebounder. He's certainly big enough for the role. Not an elite from a size perspective. He's not as big as Caden Shedrick, who is a kind of good rebounder, good shot blocker, good interior scorer. But I think you could potentially play him at the 5, and if not, you can always play Shedrick, who's a bit of a better shot blocker, a bit of a better rebounder, a bit longer as well. So I think you really have a good 6-man rotation. You have a few other pieces, We'll see about Isaac Trudot. We'll see about Isaac McKinney. Cafaro's going to be, someone that gets minutes. But when you're looking ahead to next season, Virginia's going to be, I think, in a position where I think they're going to be underrated going into the season. I think in the past we've tended to kind of trust Tony Bennett maybe to a fault when the roster hasn't been there. Well, now I think, with Virginia's in a spot where, not a lot of people are trusting Tony Bennett as much. Maybe some people have cooled on Virginia as a program as a whole. And this year's team looks like it's going to be, at least top 15 good, maybe top 10 good. Like, that is where Virginia is. So I think this is going to be a season where Virginia is going to be slept on and, to the detriment of anyone that's sleeping on them, because Virginia is going to be back in a position to contend for an ACC title, to contend for a Final Four, to contend for a national championship. I think they're at least that good this season. So going to be interesting to see. Thanks again for tuning in to Making Madness on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back next time with another transfer breakdown. So stay tuned.